It's Honeysuckle and Rachel Blackmore Racing's golden duo.
Tiger Roll joins the greats and beats Magic of Life.
Best behaviour on the near side with the wettest of sails for Barry Brown and Oliver McKiernan. Local trainer Darren McLaughlin again in the honest Sandown. Lord Lyon wins it from...
It's Sampo on the stand side before he had the second last. Before he lands in the lead by half a length and goes on from Sampo.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of We're Going Chasing, Surfs Up at Fairyhouse. This is a special episode. It's been done remotely. We might be trying this going forward for a few weeks, but we'll see how we get on. Anyway, Cillian, how was your weekend?
Geez, I'm still recovering. Yeah, it was a great weekend, like at their Fairyhouse. Sunday was some day out. So we really really enjoyed that now. We're out till the early hours of Monday morning. Yeah. Limped into work then Monday. The car is still in the Fairyhouse. It's Tuesday evening. It's looking like it's going to be there till Friday. They close the gates at 4:30. I'm working, so there'll be no way I can get out there until evening time. So it's looking like Friday at lunchtime, or might be Sunday then. So I think it's promised a snowy enough week too, so that we might have like that the car could be in serious bother with the snow and the cold. Like, but can't beat seeing Teahupoo win. That's great. Like,
no, you'll be all right. I'm sure. I actually left the car there as well, as you know. I wasn't planning on having a drink, but just the way the results went on that. I suppose all plans went out the window. I collected the car there yesterday evening, and there was 4 or 5 cars left, including your own. The Astra looking very lonely over in the corner of the field. But, I'm sure you'll be reunited at some stage.
Hopefully. Look, it's a small price to pay anyway for the day out we had.
Well, once you get it back. So, Cillian, moving on to the questions from our followers this week. The first there coming in on Twitter is, did anything catch your eye in defeat this weekend?
Yeah, I had a couple here as well, same as last week, couldn't stop at one. So I have 2 here. First one is Explosive Boy for Tony Martin. He fell in the handicap hurdle on Saturday. He's the maiden over hurdles. He's ran 6 or 7 times. He was second in Cheltenham in that handicap on the Friday. So he looked to be chucked in the last day, travelled really well. He went off 7-4, fell at the second last or the last when second last he'd every chance of winning, but he's probably one to keep in the notebook. But like, he'd go off a short price again now the next day, I'd imagine. But yeah, he should be going in soon enough. Like, I'd say he's nice but up his sleeve. He was running off 5 pounds lower in Ireland than what he was in England, so he looks thrown in. And then the second one was a horse called Hansworth for Philip Dempsey. He ran in Aintree behind Venetia Williams' horse Brave Siaska. So he was running off 119 in Aintree. He's rated 116 in Ireland. Actually came second to Optional Mix, who was second in the Mayor's handicap chase on Sunday as well, in Wexford in his last Irish start. So like, he's recorded his best ever race and post rating there. He's running off 3 pounds lower next time in Ireland. So I'd say he'd have a good chance when he runs back over in Ireland again. And he goes on every sort of ground really. Like, the Aintree one was good to soft, and like, he's came second on heavy. He's ran on good to yielding and won on good to yielding. So like, he's completely ground versatile too. So I'd imagine he'd go close in his next start. Okay,
very good.
Yourself?
Yeah, I've probably got one there, and it's not from the weekend. I actually ended up watching the maiden hurdle at Uttoxeter today, just before lunchtime. But I wasn't watching it for betting purposes. It was actually a horse I was involved with before. I suppose had form linking in with one of these, so I was watching it for that reason. And the horse that stood out to me was a horse called Equinus. So he finished 4th, 10 lengths off first, but just the way the race panned out, he didn't jump well. The second, I'd say it was his first time over hurdles. He had won on the bumper, and at the second hurdle, he actually, whatever way he jumped, he sort of ended up hitting into the horse in front of him, and he jolted a bit. and I'd say his confidence was lost, was just shot after that. He lost places, a lot of places then after that. I think the jockey was sort of maybe happy enough maybe to leave him out the back a small bit and get some space. He was getting pushed along, and not even pushed along, strongly driven out the back. And he was last at one stage, again getting strongly driven. And there was how many runners in the field? I'm just looking at it here, about 14 or 15, 14 runners in the field. And he stayed on then very well in the home straight and finished fourth. Now, the form from the bumper, his previous race, has worked out okay so far. The horse in fourth won. He was second that day. And just the way the last 6 or 7 furlongs turned out and how strongly he stayed on, I do think that he's much better than the bare result there. And the confidence was just shot towards the start of the race. And I'd be looking at him the next day in a maiden hurdle. I don't think he needs to be stepped up on trip. I think he was staying on so well. I don't think that's a trip issue really. I think it's just because of the start of the race and how much work he had left himself to do. But that'd be one that I'd definitely be going to look at.
Who'd you say trains him?
It was Nigel Twiston-Davis.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So right, moving on to last weekend. Manila Crooner is the first horse here on the list. Obviously bet I Am Maximus. I Am Maximus's first run since joining Willie's from Nicky Henderson's. He was quite impressive. He needed every inch of the trip, I reckon, but he stayed on very well towards the last. I Am Maximus probably made a few mistakes.
He did, yeah. I'd say Paul Townend learned a lot about I Have Maximus on Saturday. Like he's a real monkey. Like just pulled awful hard. He jumped left, he jumped right. He went everywhere you didn't want him to go. He went there. I was looking up at the race, and I think I saw that they've actually given I Am Maximus a higher race and post rating than Manila Crooner. Like it's rare enough you'd see that. Like a horse. Now he's only bet a short head, obviously, but like
what ratings did they get?
146 and 145. So
okay.
Like I don't know. I like Manila Crooner. I know you love Manila Crooner, so I won't say too many bad words about him. But like, I'd be surprised now if he finished in front of I Am Maximus again. Like he'd the benefit of having a run under his belt as well over fences. The one I'd take out of it could be actually Largy Debut. He came third. He pulls too hard again, like same thing as he was doing last year over hurdles, and did it in his beginner's chase as well. But he's only finished 6 lengths in behind. I think he nearly knocked Rachel Blackmore off early on as well. It might have been the first or second fence, but like didn't jump that well. But he's probably one that'll be sort of one of that novice handicap in Punchestown at the end of the season. He'd be one that would have a sort of profile for that as well. Like if he doesn't improve further above that, like, but
yeah,
he looks.
But if you're saying that he pulled hard in his bumper, he pulled hard over hurdles last year, and he pulled hard again
I know.
at the weekend. Like, is that really something that you're going to follow him thinking? Like, he's had his chances now at this stage, and he doesn't seem to be learning. Like,
I feel like they're going to get him to settle at some stage. So at some stage, or else they're just going to say, "Here you go, let's go off the front." Like he didn't lead the last day, so like when he beat Kilcrut in the maiden hurdle last year, it was make all 2 miles bang. So I just think that he's one to follow. Like I wouldn't be saying his handicap mark won't be that high when he gets one. Like he's had 2 runs, he's been bet 6 lengths in one, and he was beaten by Mighty Potter by 6.5 lengths. So it's actually quite strong form there. Like
it is, yeah.
It is. Like he was rated 130 over hurdles. He's probably going to be sort of a 130, high 130s over fences based on his form so far. Like you wouldn't know. He could be one for a handicap down the line, I'd say.
Yeah, that is very strong form.
Yeah.
He was actually brilliant, but we'll be talking about Mighty Potter there later on.
Yeah.
The next horse on our list, excuse my pronunciation now, Joyu Mashan.
Don't be asking me. Like I can tell you he was very good though. He was, in fairness to him, and another nice hurdler for Paul Nolan as well after Sandown again last week. I was all over the favourite Willie's horse for Chris Jones, that Viva De Vito. But in fairness, he ran him down. He's ran past him and looked very good. Like the time, I think the time was a bit quicker than Facile Vega's, but sure, you can't look into that at all. That's not a metric. Like even there, I think he got a high 130 or 140 race in post rate, and Facile Vega got 122. So like that means Facile Vega on the face of it comes third in that maiden hurdle. That's just not true, like, you know. So you can't compare times or anything for them two races. So but he was impressive though.
And the other two maiden hurdles, I suppose, that stood out at the weekend, you know, both won by Willie Mullins, both horses hugely impressive. Facile Vega had very little to beat, to be fair, and did it with ultimate ease, really. And you know, didn't put a foot wrong, was impressive, but you know, bigger days will lie ahead, and we'll find out more the next time he runs. And then also Lossiemouth showed a great turn of foot, I felt, just after jumped the last. Just seemed to take off, put 4 or 5 lengths between them quickly enough, and very impressive. What did you make of those?
Yeah, sure, she was a real talk horse before she came over. Like, everyone was on about Lossiemouth. I don't know what she cost, up near 400,000. So
yeah, about 400.
Yeah, she had to be fairly useful anyway. She's gone into 9-2 for the Triumph Hurdle now. Like, you wouldn't put anyone off saying that she's not going to win it. Like, but I wouldn't be backing her 9-2 either. You know. She jumped, travelled really well. Like, she was getting weight off Sarek the Brave, 7 pounds for the mayor's allowance. Like, so there was no other bit of like extra weight in the conditions of the race that she would have got that she didn't. But yeah, no, she was very good. I thought she was the best horse in the race. The horse I'd take out of it though, outside of her, would be probably Comfort Zone, that came third for Joseph. Like, he'd only won his 3-year-old hurdle the week before in Navan. Didn't get a hard race that day, like, but backed up after a week, and like, he was missing hurdles and he just didn't jump that well. But I'd be disappointed if he didn't at least improve past Sarek the Brave when we see him next. I don't know will he get to her level, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't improve past Sarek the Brave, to be honest. He could be a horse for a Boodles.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you. If, like, he was very impressive at Navan, and then getting him out straight away, you're giving him very little time there, you know, to rest and recover, and that, you know, he could be better than what he showed there today. It'll be interesting when they get him out next, and how he goes. But definitely, you know, JP loves one handicap, and he could be one maybe come March to be looking at in the Boodles. I'd definitely be on the same page as you there. Speaking about Facile Vega there, and that we obviously had the Royal Band as well, 2 mile novice hurdlers. Marine Nationale, very impressive. Made a mistake at the last and still just got up on the line past Irish Point. Champ Kiley was probably very disappointing. I'd say the ground went against him. You know, he was running in the summer. I was sweet enough on him for the last 4 or 5 weeks. On this podcast, I've been saying, you know, he's one for the Royal Band because he was very impressive and the form was stacking up. I think the ground went against him. But it was probably the ground. I'd say if he met them again on good ground, you wouldn't know. But look, it was a very good race. It's often the weakest possibly of the Grade 1 novice hurdles because it comes so early in the year. But Marine Nationale did look a bit of a machine, the way he still got up after making a mistake. Yeah,
he did. It was a bit sickening. Like, Rob Atchison, when he was on our podcast a few weeks ago, put up Irish Point as a horse to follow for the season. And in fairness, he went off 18-1 in a Grade 1. And he's bet a short head, bet ahead. Like, so, like, it was a fair call from him there. Like, in fairness,
it was.
And the horse is very unlucky to really, like, you thought after jumping the last he was probably going to just hold on when Marine Nationale jumped out to his left a bit. But geez, in fairness to Michael O'Sullivan, now he gave the winner a great ride. Like, you could always see him coming around. He was just stalking in behind and just waiting. He knew he probably had a nice bit up his sleeve too. Like, I'm surprised he did it on that ground as well. I thought he'd be probably just a better ground horse. Like, he hadn't ran on this kind of ground before. Irish Point had won a Grade 1 bumper in France on heavy ground. So like
Yeah,
he'd sort of proven himself on the ground. But like, in fairness to Marine Nationale, he's put up some performance. And I don't know how he ended up going off 11-2 either. Like, there was a lot of money for Cromwell's horse on the day. He ended up being pulled up. He never really like looked to be traveling all right and just stopped, just bottomed out completely. Like
yeah. Yeah,
um
it was good to see Michael O'Sullivan out too in
yeah,
Copper Sunday night.
they were all
He
out in
was
coppers.
yeah, they were right sure
um,
after
they
winning his
were
first grade
even
one. You know what a day for him.
yeah, some day from, and like, I don't know, I don't remember any claimer ever winning a Grade 1. I don't know, do you? Like,
I'm sure it's
I
happened. It's happened
I'm
anyway.
sure it's happened in a bumper maybe or something, but like, I don't know as any, I don't remember any claimer ever winning a Grade 1 in Ireland, like,
Yeah, yeah, £5 claimer as well at that.
as well. Yeah. So
Did Jordan Gainford by any chance? I'm not sure.
I don't
I don't
think
have a
so.
good memory for things like this, but
I don't think he did. So
I don't have a good memory for anything really.
yeah, that's a fair point now. And just on that race as well, then Ashrow Diamond, the mare, she came third. She ran a cracking race. She was bet 4 lengths, but she's gone second favourite now for the mare's novice hurdle, about 8-1. But she's represents probably decent enough value there, with like, she's kept her coming third in a Grade 1 against the boys. Like, so you'd imagine that she'll take high order in that class now this season.
Yeah, you would indeed. And I suppose just going briefly back, you mentioned that we had Rob Atchison on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he gave 2 horses really when we asked him for 2 horses. Just for people in case you haven't heard it, it's on our YouTube channel. You can go back and hear it all. It's still very relevant. But Irish Point was one horse he gave, and the other was a horse from Germany, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, Virginia
Who's not
Storm.
going to be running. Say that again.
Virginia Storm.
Virginia Storm, exactly. Yeah, he's not going to be running until next year, but he's certainly one to keep an eye out for when the time comes around. And aside from that, when he was asked for one horse for Cheltenham, he confidently gave us Gentleman's Game for the RSA. So that's possibly another interesting one for our followers to keep an eye out for. Right, so we'll move on to the Drinmore. Mighty Potter was mightily impressive.
He was, yeah, Jesus.
Wasn't he?
He was superb, and Jack Kennedy was superb as well. I think I said it on here after he won his beginner's chase in Down Royal. Lads were giving out about his jumping the first day. Then I was saying, I saw it on Twitter. I said, like, you've got to give, like, it was only a beginner's chase. Like, he's not going to be foot perfect. And he wasn't foot perfect the last day either, but my God, he's some engine. Like, even there at 3 out, I think he missed that, and Jack just sat there and waited, just let him off, got back in it, and just took off then down the home straight, and won handy enough. Like, he won by 5 lengths?
Yeah, no, 3.5 looking at it here.
3.5.
It's actually, you say 3 out, it was nearly 3 out, 4 out, and 5 out. I think there was 2 or 3 in a row there where the nose really ducked on London. And Jack Kennedy, he didn't panic, he didn't do a thing. He just sat still, held on tight, and just left the horse do his thing. And just I felt like when Maris Harper and Largy Debut maybe started to get a bit closer to him, he seemed to just push on again with ease.
He did, yeah. And like, he's kind of favourite there for the Turners in March, and sort of frightens me a small bit. I put up Sir Gerhard for the Turners, so I'm not fully sure now would I like to be. Really, I like this lad's brilliant. Now, he bombed in Cheltenham last year. That'd be your only concern if you are backing him, but like, he was so good. They'll have plenty.
I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't not back him for that reason, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say, he always looked as if he needed, once he got to step up and trip, he was going to be a better horse.
Yeah, he did.
That certainly looks to be the case.
And you were disappointed with Banbridge?
Yeah, but I liked him at Cheltenham. That was where I felt that he was best. It was probably his best race in post rating as well. And people were saying that he'll be better again for those middle distances, but I'm not actually sure that's the case. Disappointed, would like to see him finish a bit closer, considering I put him up here, but I put him up for the Arkle. And I think the fact he's had that run now, they might look at 2 miles as being a better option. So to be honest, I'm actually quite okay with that.
Yeah, he could be back to 2 miles anyway, Christmas. So
Yeah, we'll find out more then.
Poor Guy Dominiel just keeps running into one, doesn't he? Like every day he goes out.
Yeah.
Finds one or two too good, and like he's ran a cracker there again. And like I'd say a lot of people have him backed for the National Hunt Chase, just given his profile and second season novice and all that. But like he can lie up in any distance over 2.5 miles, can't he? He's not that slow.
No. He's not that slow at all. Exactly. God, I was looking at the race at Down Royal when I was talking about Maris Harper. I still had that open. Yeah, moving on. The Hattons Grace. Teahupoo. Like he was far too big a price considering he was a 5-year-old improving. You know, there was older horses there who would, we'll say, reached their peak, who were shorter than him in the betting, and he was the improving one. It's been no secret that he needs soft ground. He was getting that. And you know, I suppose you would have been, if you were Rob Corr, you'd be very sick had you beaten Honeysuckle and not beaten Willie's, you know.
Yeah, you would for definite. And like, you know, it was I'm sad to see her beaten. Like she's been unbelievable for the sport for the last 3 years, like the last 3.5 years. And like it was sad to see her lose the unbeaten run, but like it's national hunt racing. No one ever goes unbeaten. Like it's not 2 and 3 year olds in the flat. Like, so obviously the day was going to come at some stage, and like it probably would have came in the champion hurdle in March anyway. But look, it's great for Rob Corr that they've got a grade one there with Teahupoo. Like he's a fair animal. Like he's only 5, still improving, as you said. Like, so, and soft ground seems to be the key, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And would you think, like, obviously there's no 2.5 mile race from there at Cheltenham if he is to go to Cheltenham. Would you be looking at stepping him back to 2 miles or stepping him up to 3 miles?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'd say if he didn't get soft ground in the champion hurdle, there'd be no point. Whether like he was taken off his feet in it last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think see the point going back there on similar type of ground. And to be honest, I'd say everyone would be paying second fiddle to Constitution Hill anyway. But just stepping him up into the stairs, like I don't know, like they've got Bob Ollinger for the stairs as well. Maybe, I don't know, he's gonna run at the 3 mile race at Christmas. So like I don't know, would they go for 2 races? Maybe they go to Aintree for the 2.5 mile race, but it probably wouldn't be soft ground in Aintree either, would it?
No. And then I suppose Honeysuckle is the other big talking point from that race. If you look at the race and post ratings, she's actually ran very similar than she has in the previous 3 runnings of it. You know, she's sort of ran a race and she's just been up against better opposition. So like if you're a Honeysuckle fan, you know, you couldn't be put off too much by it. She's ran a race, she'll improve loads for it. And like I can see, like it would have brought the place down had she won there on Sunday. But at the same time now, I think the Irish champion hurdle is going to be her day, please God. And it will be one hell of a day if she does go and win, because people love in national hunt race and people love a comeback. You know, a horse who's been there, done it, and then gets a knock, gets doubted, and then they come back, you know, top of their game and win a grade one. We've seen it before with the likes of Faheen, Sprinter Sacre did it. There's loads of examples there. So I think that could be her day.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, to be honest, if I was them anyway, I'd be going gung ho anyway for the Irish champion hurdle. And if you win it, unreal. Yeah. And like realistically, it's going to be very hard to beat Constitution Hill in March. And like I think winning the Irish champion hurdle now, getting 3 in a row there, it'd be some return for her. Yeah, I'm looking at the race and post ratings here, 158, and like the first year when she just scraped home, she'd have won 5-2, and she'd won 60 last year. So yeah, I suppose it is a similar thing. I think what pains the Honeysuckle fans that want her and think she'll beat Constitution Hill, and I'm one of them as well, is that I think people thought when she's so battle hardened and she's so hardy that a horse comes and he looks her in the eye and she says, "No, fuck you," and it goes again, and she just couldn't go again the last day. And I just think like it's probably going to be the same March when he looks her in the eye or she comes upsides him. He's just going to have too much. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong too. As
hope I'm wrong.
Brian Atchison.
As does Brian Atchison, yeah. But I think everyone in Ireland hopes we're wrong. I don't think it's a real Ireland-England battle, isn't it?
It is, and it does look like they have the upper hand at this stage. But the fawning over Constitution Hill has been totally and utterly blown out of proportion too. About the best.
We said that last week. He's not.
Yeah. So look, moving on from that, grade A handicap then. Merlin Giant won it. Reasonably impressively. Pinkerton there for Noel Meade was second. Do you have any opinion on that?
I do, yeah. I just look at the horse Merlin Giant. Like he's won. He's ran a number of times now for Emmett on over hurdles. Like his best performance really before today was winning the maiden hurdle from Hugh Briscoe in Galway. I think the form of that's worked out really well. So Hugh Briscoe's obviously ran in a couple of graded races since and ran with decent enough credit. Wrexham went off favourite for a novice hurdle in Cheltenham. Now he was hammered that day, but he still went off favourite. And then horse in fourth called Rian, bet 23 lengths that day. Won a handicap in Cork for Gordon last time out. I think he's entered in Navan this weekend in the grade B handicap, so he's only a 5-year-old as well, and he's improving. But it looks a strong maiden hurdle, and it was a fair performance the last day. And just judging by the owners, the Mees, I'd say he could be one for a Galway hurdle next July.
I reckon, yeah.
Just by the owners, they all love having runners and love having winners in Galway. And I'd say if you see him run pretty poorly next time out, be thinking Cillian said it on We're Going Chasing the Galway hurdle. No, I don't know, he's probably mightn't be good enough to win a Galway hurdle, but if any man can get him there reasonably handicapped, it's Amos Mullins.
Very true. And then the final race then on Sunday, better days ahead for Gordon. He was quite impressive because that William Mullins horse for Rich Ritchie was fiercely, he seems to be held in serious regard. There was a lot of talk about him before the race at the course anyway, that he was meant to be a bit of a machine at home and that, and better days ahead sort of made light enough work of him.
Yeah, he really showed up to his name anyway. Better days ahead after his first performance. I think there were a lot of people giving out about him. I thought he looked a bit tapped for toe maybe that day. He didn't seem to be that fast, but he showed a fair turn of foot now the last day. He's won by 3 3/4 lengths. He's gave a fair performance, but it's just a pity now. Seeing him now in a bumper for the years is sicking me. Jump a hurdle at Christmas. Go on,
exactly.
Go.
Yeah.
Give us another one.
I'd be on the exact same page as you there. Bumpers. Bumpers
Yeah.
aren't my thing.
I know he's a 4-year-old, but he's had 2 runs now in bumpers. He's ran the point to point. Maybe he's a big baby and he needs a year, but I'd be saying just let him run. Just give him a hurdle.
Yeah. No, I'd be on the same page 100%. And you mentioned turn of foot, Noble Yates.
Oh,
I didn't think you had it.
I didn't think he had it either. He looked to be under pressure and then bang.
Yeah.
Just runs away from them. It was
Where did that come out of?
Very strange, yeah. We should have known though. I watched the road to Cheltenham last Thursday. Ruby on there talking about Noble Yates. Think he'll win Saturday, he said. Then he goes, actually, John, I'm going to put him up for the Gold Cup. He was 66-1 last Thursday night. I don't know, the best price, about 20 is probably now.
I don't think so. I think he's gone into.
He's even shorter.
He could be 12s.
Yeah, he could be. He's won well in Wexford last time out, then goes over to Aintree and does that, and he was well supported in the day. I know there was initial thoughts they were going to go to the King George, but I'd say he's going to keep him to more sort of galloping tracks. But Cheltenham suit him though, won't it? Extra 2 furlongs.
Should have tougher tests, tests again.
Now you've Noble Yates coming, you've Hewitt coming. These sort of springers now in the market. I said last week Galopin Des Champs is the worst value favourite one of the worst value favorite. Or you said last week one of the worst
I
value
said
favorites.
last week.
I thought it was. I agreed with you. Sorry. I let you have Galopin, but like this shows again, like there's serious value in Noble. Well, maybe not now, but like he'll be there or thereabouts. Like he's
Yeah. Yeah. No, he will. I didn't think he had that in him anyway. I was very impressed with him, and he's as good as anything now going for a Gold Cup.
You'd wonder would the dentist come out of retirement if he was in the Gold Cup, like.
I doubt it. Authorized Speed then won a novice hurdle there at Sandown. Had a penalty to carry as well, and won it well.
He did, yeah. He was impressive enough now, I thought. Few sketchy enough jumping errors, like, but he's a big enough engine, I'd say, and like he showed there that he can lie up with good horses. He ran in the Cheltenham bumper last year, and so did he finish 5th, bet 11 lengths by Facile Vega. But I'd say the key to him will probably be a good cut in the ground. I'd say soft ground there now, heavy ground. If he gets it now over the winter, it might bring out a bit more of an improvement on him. Like, but I like him. I like the horse a lot, and it's good for Gary Moore anyway to get another good one after Porticello's ill-fated injury there a couple of weekends ago.
And we also had a bit of a farce then at Sandown. David Maxwell was the main beneficiary of it in a strong driving finish. Look, he got up anyway, but poor Ben Bramley has been badly done by the BHA. Now look, maybe he deserved it, but very unfortunate. And the rules are the rules, I suppose. But he got 4 days for overuse of the whip. On Call Me Lord, who was beaten in Odes in second, and then he got 24 days for, I don't know what term you use for it, but being a non-trier essentially. I don't think that's the term, but he pulled up early. He pulled the horse up early, thinking it's not a non-trier. I don't know what the official term was, but he's essentially got 4 days for trying too hard, and then 24 days for not trying to finish.
Yeah, I know.
Look, what did you make of that?
Yeah, I thought they could have left the 4 days out of it. The 24 was enough.
They could have, yeah.
Tell you, like the Maxwell drive and finish, there's a lot to be said for it. Like, who knows? Maybe Bromley could have stayed going and Maxwell still would have got up. Like, that's the caliber of horseman and jockey we're dealing with here in David Maxwell. Like, don't be laughing. He's very, very good.
I love David Maxwell. I like what he does. He's dead right to do it. He's got the money. He owns the horses. He can do what he wants. But that doesn't mean I can't get enjoyment out of his riding style and the way he does it.
Yeah, I know.
But like, if I was him, I'd be doing the same. So hats off to him.
For definite, yeah. But I felt bad for poor Bromley there now. Like, I think there's 2 sort of winning posts in Sandown, and it's like 10 yards or 20 yards between them. Like, so they think the fucking Sandown would sort that out. Like, they've wronged him really, like, and now jockey should probably know where the winning post is too, but like when you're in that kind of heated competition, 3 of them in a drive and finish, it wild about Oscar there as well for the Skeltons. So like it's easy to make a fuck up, and like he's paid harshly for it. Like, he's going to have no rides over Christmas now.
Yeah, he will pay very harshly for it. The next one on the list was Jonbon. Look, he's beaten very little there, jumped brilliantly. We didn't learn much, did we?
No, we didn't learn much, no. But like I think the time was faster, was it, than the Tingle Creek? No, 1 second slower, but he was faster from 4 out to the line, I think. So yeah, he's won by about 8 or 10 lengths there, and like Boot Hill is a fairly average animal. Like, he's rated a high handicapper, like 41.45 to 150 there. Like, and Jonbon just jumped well and just won it handy enough. Like,
what is it about Sandown nearly? It feels as if like all those 2 mile chases, like again the Tingle Creek, Edwardstone jumped brilliantly. It seems like whatever it is about the 2 mile chases at Sandown, there always seems to be like unbelievable jump performances. Are the fences smaller there or what? Because it can't be a coincidence that this keeps on happening. Like,
I don't know, but it's like, isn't the back straight in Sandown just one big line? They go from when they turn into the back straight to the back of the railway fences. That's just one line. There's probably 6 jumps down the back there, and they just line them up and jump them like.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
possibly.
I think that's it now. I know the water jump is very small. It's like a
Yeah,
French hurdle. But
yeah.
I don't think like maybe the fences aren't stiff or something. I don't know. Then
I
maybe you
don't
can
know.
brush through the top or something and
No,
they're
they
fine.
don't touch the top.
Yeah.
They
Maybe
seem to.
maybe they are
I
small.
don't
I don't
know.
know.
Anyway, but as mentioned, Edwardstone there, he's a man that you've really stuck the boot into on
Hmm.
this podcast.
Hmm.
And my God, he couldn't have done it any better.
Yeah, he probably was brilliant. Like he's hammered them, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I didn't give him a chance. I thought it was between the top two, Shishkin and Grenadine. I'd say Shishkin's completely and utterly burst now, maybe. Like got a kick before the race, but they let him run, so there was obviously nothing wrong with him there. Like it was on good to soft ground, and like it looked like gentleman to me. I don't know, he was going quick enough, but like it looked that Shishkin was just taking off his feet, that he couldn't just go with them. He's sort of pushing, and he's probably doing a bit much in him, I thought, all the way around de Boinville, and came to the pond fence and just went way left. And that was it, game over then. Like whatever chance he
yeah,
had was gone. But yeah, like I don't know what you do with him. I'd probably just I'd give him a chance. I'd step him up and trip. Um I'd go up to 2.5 miles with him now, probably.
yeah.
And see what he can do there. But like
I don't. I don't think it's a trip issue. Now, look, maybe he will improve to step up and trip, but he's just not the horse he was. As far as I can see, and it probably brings us back to the Constitution Hill point a small bit, because people were talking about Shishkin and comparing him to Altior, and saying Shishkin is the best chaser we've ever seen. And he had achieved a lot more, we'll say, over fences and he had shown a lot more in his whole career, we'll say, because he obviously went through and his hurdle season and all that as well. We had seen more of Shishkin than we had of Constitution Hill. And now, and people were comparing him to Altior. And now people see Constitution Hill once in open company and think that he's God's greatest gift national hunt race. So that's just another side point that people need to calm down on.
they
But
do, yeah.
just going back to Edwardstone, he got a racing post rating of 175. He beat Grenadine in Grenadine's back garden essentially by
Yeah.
9 lengths. And I wasn't the most complimentary towards Edwardstone either, but and we'll see how he. To be honest, I still wouldn't probably be too keen on him going forward. I'd probably take him on with something, but it looks like he's going to make us eat our words. Like, really does.
Yeah, I think I said the 2 mile chasers from last year were all shit. And like he's won a Tingle Creek, Blue Lars won the Clonmel Oil. Now Riviere de Tel looks very, very poor. And Gentleman to me can't lie up in grade 1 company either, but he's probably a spring horse. But so I'm sort of half right. I'm not going to say I'm wrong, but I'm very wrong about Edwardstone. He'll have a serious chance in the Champion Chase. Like he's won the Arc already. Like I think strong pace will suit him too. He'll just hold him up and pounce late. Like he's another horse there now that he was rated 148 over hurdles and now he's a 170 chaser. Like it's some improvement for
Yeah.
jumping a fence. And I don't think he's a horse that like you'd have said like when he was over hurdles that'll improve for a fence. Like he's, like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. He's 8 turning 9, so he's probably getting his best chance now to win a Champion Chase. So
Yeah.
we'll see what Alan King can do. I've no doubt there's cotton wool and bubble wrap involved. Anyway,
the whole lot. The
the
whole lot.
He mightn't run again before the Champion Chase. Like
He won't be that bad.
I don't know. Like he might not. One more run max.
He won't.
But
Yeah, maybe one more. Yeah, yeah.
one
He
more
will have
max,
one though,
but-
surely.
but that-
The final horse so that I'd like to talk about in the UK was Love Envoi. Essentially top weight. She wasn't top weight, but she official rating of 139. I think she got £5 for that, gone up to 144. Stayed on very strongly. She looks really, and that was over 2 miles. The Mayor's Hurdle trip will suit her even better. She looked good.
She did, yeah. She did look good, yeah. But I think I wouldn't be too gone on her for the Mayor's Hurdle. Like she was hammered by Brandy Love in Fairyhouse over 2.5 miles last year. like I wouldn't have any strong opinion on the Mayor's Hurdle, to be honest. Anyway, but like even if they're winning that there, the last day, I wouldn't be too gone on her. But yeah, she's up near enough the top of the market now. Anyway, based on her winning the Mayor's Novice Hurdle last year.
She deserves to be up there. As far as I'm concerned, anyway, she's got that course form there as well, like you said, and she did stay on very strongly towards the finish. Right, so that wraps up our weekend review. Right, that brings us on to the final segment of today's podcast. We're going to look ahead to this weekend's racing. We'll just start briefly in Clonmel on Thursday. There's a nice hurdle there. You've got a few horses in it going back over hurdles. Dial Kerr, Eclat de Rire, Milan Native is there as well. Ronald Pump. It's a nice race.
It is a nice race. I'd say there's a few of them probably looking to mind their chase mark and just get a bit fit. I'd say that's the case with Dial Kerr and Eclat de Rire anyway. Probably two of them go to the Thyestes into January, so they're probably getting a run here, another run in around Christmas or something. Get them ready for that. I just checked to see was Eclat de Rire entered in the Paddy Power Christmas and he wasn't, so that's probably the plan with them. You'd imagine Ronald Pump will win it though, like he's the proper hurdler and town end booked as well for Colin Murphy. Like I'd say he'll win that.
Yeah.
Colin Murphy trains him now. He's gone from Matt Smith's.
Yeah. He is a nice horse. He should win that. 3 miles too will be right down his street.
Yeah.
Eclat de Rire is one that I definitely be looking at towards a handicap chase later in the season. I'm a big fan of him. I know things didn't work out fully for him last year, but yeah, we'll move on. Actually, just before we move on, another one that ran very well for you. You mentioned him on the podcast there 2 weeks ago. Traveled into the race lovely and just didn't see it out. Maybe Mark Walsh left it too late to pull the trigger, but Wamalco, Sam Ewing is riding him there on Thursday in the novice handicap chase. So maybe if anybody had him backed and had liked the way he shaped in that race, it's one to keep an eye on. So moving on to Saturday, we've racing from Navan on Saturday. Looking at the maiden hurdles there, the first one it's a nice race, not standing out too much. The second race, then you've two nice horses from Willys entered: Listnagar Fortune, Madman's Game.
Yeah, two very good horses. Listnagar Fortune won in bumpers. Madman's Game ran in the champion bumper, finished down the field, and then fifth in Punchestown. He's a half brother to the Robco horse Gentleman's Game, Mouse Morris. So he's one to keep an eye on. Tagman then as well, horse that finished fourth on hurdles debut, but he'd won a bumper in Punchestown last year at the festival as well. So it could be a strong enough race over 2.5 miles there. I think it's hard to know really, but I doubt Willie run both those in the same maiden hurdle anyway.
Yeah, that's fair to assume. The Bector Stud Tea Rooms handicap hurdle then, grade B handicap hurdle over 3 miles, 1 furlong. It's got a lovely lineup really. Max Flamingo is catching the eye there off a rating of 127 back over hurdles. A few others run for Oscar, 145, and then the other two are Gordons there, Jungle Pros and Eric Bloodaxe. Jungle Pros, can he do it again? I think it's come to the end of the road for him. I think the winning sequence is ending on Saturday. Yeah,
like if she wins there Saturday, she's entitled to run the Mayor's Hurdle. She's running off 137 Saturday. If she wins that over 3 miles, I know it's 3 miles, the Mayor's Hurdle is 2.5, but if she was to win that, she'd go up another maybe 7 or 8 pounds or whatever, but like she'd be well entitled to line up in a Mayor's Hurdle, like, and it'd be another kick in the teeth to Nick Gifford Racing Syndicate if she went in again. I like Eric Bloodaxe though. I think he's won his first run for Gordon. Obviously he's an R10 to follow, and I think he's better than 137, and they've obviously decided to keep him over hurdles. Maybe they'll be looking at a race like a Pertemps down the line or something, but Like this is well within his capabilities of winning. And then just one other one, sticking with the Gordon theme, because he is going so well at the moment as well. Rian, a horse I mentioned earlier for Philip Reynolds, he won a handicap in Cork. He's in here off 125, 9 stone 10. Like, he's definitely better than 125 too. Like, it looks a strong race, and it mightn't be his day on Saturday if he does run, but there's definitely another race in him anyway, at least.
Yeah, he's a very strong hand in it. And Eric Bloodex, the one I remind you again that I put in the 10 to follow. I think wherever he finishes, he'll be ahead of Jungle Pros, I reckon. They're both rated 137.
I
and
wouldn't be discounting her that easy. Like, she just
no,
wins
I
every day
think
she goes out.
yeah, this is a much better field she's in now.
Yeah, definitely.
Much better horses. They'll be going that bit quicker. I think the game is up for her. But what a time the owners have had with her anyway. Moving on, so after that we've a nice grade 3, a small field of entries in it. 7 entries. The 2 to catch the eye are both of Gordon's really Hollow Games and 3 Stripe Life. Midnight Run for Joseph O'Brien too. Obviously won a nice race at Punchestown a couple of weeks ago. He's entered as well. You'd imagine after 3 Stripe Life running at the weekend. Now I know Davy lost the irons and that, so he didn't have that tough of a race. He was pulled up quite early, but still, you'd imagine Hollow Games will be going here. Noel Moran likes having runners at Navan, and Midnight Run will probably chase him home.
Yeah, I'd assume so. Yeah. I think Midnight Run will have to give him weight as well. He'll have a grade 2 penalty. He won that grade 2 in Punchestown, so I'd imagine he'll be given Hollow Games weight. Yeah, as you said, if he picks one, he's gonna run Hollow Games, Noel Moran's backyard, like so.
Yeah.
I think it's easy as Hollow Games runs, Hollow Games wins. If 3 Stripe Life runs, 3 Stripe Life wins. There's no point really.
It probably is that straightforward.
I think it is.
The Beginner's Chase then, a few nice entries in it. Again, we're just running through these quickly enough because we don't want the podcast too long. And again, these are only entries, but Appreciate It and Flame Bearer are both there. Journey With Me is there as well. Was disappointing when he fell 2 or 3 out last time out. You'd imagine whichever of Appreciate or Flame Bearer goes here wins.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think they're both entered in Punchestown on Sunday as well, so he'll just split them out. They'll probably both win their respective races. Again, we Flame Bearer in our 10 to follow, so hopefully he gets off the mark as well when he does run, to keep that sort of winning mentality going for us.
It's going very well.
It is going quite well. So yeah, I think it's as simple as whichever one of them runs it wins. I'm really excited to see Appreciate over fences finally. Like, I think obviously they had a couple of setbacks last year, and he went to the Champion Hurdle without a run and ended up finishing 7th and didn't go to Punchestown then, and like it was a bit interrupted. Like, but he's an older horse too. Is he 7? Is he 8 turning 9 now?
Yeah, he is, because he was late in bumpers and that. You know, he was a year older than the others in bumpers, so he probably is 8 turning 9. That sounds right.
Yeah, he is 8 turning 9, so he's quite late going chasing too. But look, he's another one. Like, he'll probably end up, I know it's 2.5 miles on Saturday and Punchestown on Sunday, then it's 2 miles. But like, you could see him lining up in an Arkle as well. Like, you know, he bounce out that sort of way, and that's why Jonbon's such a terrible price. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't expect to see him in an Arkle now, to be honest. But look, we'll see how he jumps the fence. If he's quick over him, I suppose, you know, he's got every right to go there too at the same time. Quickly on to Cork on Sunday, and then we'll have a look at Punchestown. We've 2 nice races there. We've got the Hilly Way at Cork and the John Durkin at Punchestown. But I suppose quickly, the maiden hurdle on Sunday, Cork, Arctic Brazil for Henry de Bromhead.
Yeah, as part of that, I think we said it last week, the €1,000,000 point, or £1 million point. So be interesting to see how he gets on. I thought he might start off at a distance more than 2 miles, but yeah, he'd be an interesting one if he did run. You'd imagine he could take a lot of beating if he ran there. Then I suppose the main one I'm looking forward to seeing is Hidden Valley Lake in the grade 3 in Cork. I thought he was very good the day he won in Naas and battled on really hardly. And I think the step up and trip to 3 miles will suit him now too. It looks a strong enough race on the face, which you've Let's Speak here about it. I was second to American Mike in Down Royal, and then Monbeg Park. And like Monbeg Park probably going to get his conditions too. He was second to Calanese Star in that heavy ground bumper in Goran Park. And like, you know, the way Mallow is now too, it fills up with water fairly quickly. Like, so I think it's yielding to soft at the moment, but probably end up going off soft anyway, won't it? With the rain and the weather we're expected to get for the rest of the week.
Yeah, possibly. Although there's a lot of frost given as well, so you wouldn't know what
Yeah.
way it would go. I suppose just on Hidden Valley Lake, the form of his maiden hurdle win has been stacking up, and the horse who was second in it is actually running the Clonmel tomorrow, Santonito, in the maiden hurdle. So that's one to keep an eye out on there as well. You've got a nice Mayor's Novice Chase there as well. Allegor de Vasse, favourite for the Mayor's Chase at Cheltenham, running here. You know, it'd be interesting to see how she takes the fences. If she takes them, she should win.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of stung hands and stung pockets if she's beaten on Sunday, because
There will, won't there?
like she's 9-2.
She's silly,
and shocking price, like
silly.
And who is backing her? And I see plenty of them on Twitter as well, on about Allegor de Vasse for weeks and how she's going to hack up in the Mayor's Chase. You've never seen her jump a fence, like, shut up. She'll probably win Sunday though. I wasn't too impressed with Dino Blue on her chase and debut. Impervious, it's actually a decent enough horse. Cullen Murphy trains her. She's nice. She won a beginner's chase there recently, so I think she'll follow home Allegor de Vasse.
Yeah. Sure, we'll see how it goes. The Hilly Way, if you don't disagree with what I'm going to say here, we'll move straight on. Energumene wins as easily as he wants, and probably Captain Guinness and maybe Master McShee fight it out for second.
Spot on.
Fair enough. Spot on. Good man. Punchestown on Sunday. The big one here, seeing Galopin Des Champs out again for the first time this year. I put him up as an awful price at 9-4 last week. He's running over 2 mile 4 here, which we probably both agree is more his trip than maybe 3 mile 2. I can see him being very impressive here because he does have that turn of foot. I think he's probably nearly too classy, you know, for a Gold Cup. I'd expect him to go and be quite impressive here. And then see from there. Do you have any strong opinions on the race?
No, I'd say he'll win, and I think he's going to end up in a Ryanair, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, especially if the rumors about Allaho's demise are true. Like, saw a thing actually interestingly today that the last horse to win the John Durkan and the Gold Cup in one season was Kicking King. 2004, he won the John Durkan by 11 lengths. He'd ran twice already that season. He won a grade 2 in Goran Park over 2.5 miles, was second to be for Salmon in Down Royal in the grade 1, then went to the King George and won that 3 weeks after winning the John Durkan, and then went straight to the Gold Cup and won by 5 lengths. Like, okay. he ran and it ran again in Punchestown and won again in Punchestown. So he ran 6 times that season. He ran in 5 grade 1s and a grade 2 as well. And he was only beaten once, and it was up north. Like, you know, that was some going, you know. I just found that interesting. You wouldn't see a horse do that these days. Like,
no. I wonder though, if you were to look back at all the winners of the John Durkan, how many of those winners go to the Gold Cup? I'd say it's not many. You know, so that's one maybe to look into. But I doubt many winners go to the Gold Cup.
Yeah, no,
that'd be my perception on it. We've got the beginners chase. Then we mentioned the Preciate and Flame Bear. They're both back in there. Whichever one goes there should win. That's it. And then unless there's anything else there, anything in the bumper or that.
Yeah, no. Gordon had a nice filly that won in Galway, a Deeply Superficial. She's entered in the listed Mayor's Novice Hurdle over 2.5 miles, or just short of 2.5 miles. I like her, and I believe Henry is a nice horse in the bumper then as well.
Okay, what's Henry's there?
Slade
Steel.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. our final segment. So actually, I forgot about the one last final bit that we have is a Cheltenham selection. So last week, I gave a double, and the event for us this week, Cillian?
Yeah, I was looking through there the last today and yesterday, and it's so bad anti-post, the value, and just even like the prices are shocking. I couldn't find anything, so I decided to look through just the regular National Hunt anti-post markets, and when I saw Clactorir entered in the 3 miles hurdle race in Clonmel, I just looked into the Paddy Power, and one sort of caught my eye that I like. Gabby's Cross for Henry de Bromhead, Roger Brookhouse. He was part of that scandalous race from Punchestown again. The novice handicap that El Barrow won, Bustleton second, French Dynamite third, Fan de Blues fourth. And he just, I just really liked him. Won the Blazers in Galway then, fifth in the Kerry National. But you can probably mark up the run in Kerry, because he's lost his irons. Rachel lost her irons 5 out. Made a mistake, then after it made a mistake the third last, just didn't jump fluently and just kept on running. I think Leopardstown will suit him. You often see a horse that just doesn't jump, doesn't travel, they can just stay plugging on in Leopardstown. And I don't know, I think 33 to 1, it's a fair enough price. Like, I don't know if it's an intended target or not. He might not even go to the race, but I'm happy enough to swing with him on that. I'd say there's still a bit of improvement in him. He only went up £6 for winning in Galway. He's off 143 now, but like, maybe he's fairly handicapped, but I think he's worth to go at that price, and I backed him there today anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Right, that brings us to the end of the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed listening. Make sure to comment if you're listening on YouTube. Let us know what you thought. Like, share, subscribe as well on Spotify, on YouTube. The whole lot. Anything is greatly appreciated. So that's all from us this week. Hope you all have a good weekend. Back a few winners. And yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Good luck.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.